various people from the Ubuntunet Alliance who are in constant contact all the time for all sorts of things that we need to discuss in AfricaConnect, such as Tuzu, Margaret, and Tibonge. Uba Kabari from the Association of African Universities is very much always been a supporter of the AfricaConnect project. And then we have people who are doing the technical support for us, which are led by Andrew Alston, Joe Kimiley, and Daniel Lette from HEAnet. I want to also mention my special friend Gertie first. Many of you know her, you probably wonder where is she. She cannot be here today. She has promised me that she will definitely be there next year, and then when I hear that the meeting will be in Tanzania, I am certain she will be coming. She sends her love to all of you, and I think, you know, she would be glad to be here, but Thomas and I make sure that Gertie gets a full update of what we've been doing. In DANTE, the project is supported by many people, by the people in DANTE Finance, people in the contractual unit in DANTE, and people in the international relations team. So this is quite important. And then, of course, I think most importantly, in the middle of all this picture, this is the African NREN community who is so engaged with AfricaConnect, who has been waiting patiently almost 18 months for the contract to be signed, who's not given up hope, who's made sure that the money from the African partners is on the table long before the European Commission and DANTE were ready to sign the contract. This is so good, this is great, because it really gives a very clear signal to the people in Europe for Africa, saying very clearly, we're ready, we want this, when business, we mean business. This is just very quickly, AfricaConnect is a project. This project, as you've just heard from Marco, is supported by DG DevCo. So on top of it all, we have Marco sitting basically. Marco and his bosses are on top, and they have a direct contractual relationship with DANTE. This is what DANTE does. We have contractual relationships with the European Commission on behalf of other NREN partners in other world regions. And then the partnership really is between DANTE and the European Commission, the European partners in AfricaConnect, the Ubuntunet Alliance, the Association of African Universities, and not to forget the West African Research and Education Network, RECREN. So this just gives you an overview of who the partners are. But I want to also mention all the other partners that we have. We get, AfricaConnect has been able to really stimulate support all over the world, everywhere in the research and education community. I mean, the fact that, and Doyle is here from Internet2, shows the support that AfricaConnect and the Ubuntunet Alliance get. We have the support from the Red Clara network. But we also get a lot of support from people who are there to help, such as Alan Jackson here is from Activate, who's been following us very closely on what we can be doing together. And we get a lot of support also from our friends in Oregon at the NSRC, who really want to work with us and make sure that AfricaConnect is a great project. You all know this map, so I don't really need to show you. But these are the partners that AfricaConnect is going to be working with over the next years. These are the areas in Africa, the countries and countries in Africa that we want to deliver connectivity to. So yes, what's this project actually about? The total budget or envelope budget is 14.75 million euros, and Marco just said 11.8 million of that amount come from the European Commission. The remaining 20% need to be found here in the African continent. The project is completely based on experiences that DANTE as a coordinating partner has gathered in other world regions, such as in Latin America with the ALICE project, in the Mediterranean with the AfricaConnect project, in Asia Pacific and South Asia through TAIN, or even in Central Asia through the Cathrin project. We will focus, when we look at the connectivity, when we look at creating a research and education network for the African continent, we will initially look at the Eastern and Southern African NRENs. So we will focus on those member NRENs of the Ubuntunet Alliance, those of you who are here in the room. And I think one of the most important factors of the AfricaConnect project is that the manpower budget available to AfricaConnect will mainly go to the Ubuntunet Alliance. It is an African project, it's an African-led project. Yes, there is a European coordinating partner, but that is for a lot of knowledge and experience transfer of how to deal with the European Commission. The main work of AfricaConnect, the ownership of AfricaConnect, is with the Ubuntunet Alliance. Okay. So what have we done so far? You've seen that we started on the 6th of May. What have we done? Well, as I said, just I think, you know, to start with the most recent things that we've done, we've had our first meetings. We had, on the 21st, on Monday, we had our administration meeting, which was a meeting attended by all the CEOs and CTOs of the NRENs associated with the AfricaConnect project and the Ubuntunet Alliance. And on the Tuesday, we had a technical meeting with all the technical people involved in AfricaConnect. And the things that we've done on Monday and Tuesday, and I think, you know, for me, this lays out my work for the next couple of months and also for the Ubuntunet Alliance. What we've done is, the Ubuntunet Alliance has developed a cost-share model. How do we bring the 20% of the funding to the table? How do we find these 2.75 million euros that we need to bring to AfricaConnect? So a cost-sharing model has been agreed. So this is great. And I have to say, the way it's been looked at this cost-sharing model is a way towards sustainability. It looks very much like a way that the African partners have found a way to actually ensure that in the future they will be able to live without European Commission funding or with less and reduced European Commission funding. But I think for the moment, for the next 4 years, for AfricaConnect, the cost-share model is a very good way forward. We've also, with a technical group, we've formed a group called Network Operators Group, which is the Ubuntunet NOG. And this is a group of those people in the NRENs that will actually be responsible for the implementation of the network to the ground. So this is very interesting, it's very important, because at one stage when the AfricaConnect project has tendered the connectivity, we will sign contracts and commercial providers will deliver us with access to their systems. We will receive a cable. And then the NRENs in Africa really need to be ready to know what to do with this end of the cable, what box to plug it in. And also the NRENs in Africa will need to be ready to distribute the traffic across their own country. So this network operations group is really a fundamental achievement now for the AfricaConnect project. And we have formed technical working groups. These are working groups where the engineers can actually exchange and build a community and ask each other questions. They're all in the same boat. They all have the same task ahead of them. They need to talk to each other. These working groups will enable us. And these working groups are focusing on routing and addressing, hop design and standards, on network management systems, as well as services and applications. Services and applications is really, you know, how do I ensure, just as we talked about it this morning, how do I ensure that the researcher at the university makes use of this new network? What else have we done? Well, have a look at the AfricaConnect.eu website. I think that's been up and running since the first day, really. And we are having there, we've got testimonials, we have news stories, we have online training modules in the intranet of the website. Within our group, we share monthly traffic reports because, of course, Ubuntunet already is connected to Europe through the connectivity established in the Ubuntunet peering point in London. And we look at case studies as well. So this is really a good point to have a look. And if you've ever wondered yourself, or you've ever been asked a question by a university or a researcher or your funding organization, your government or your ministry, why do we need research and education networks? You find here the case for RNE networking. This is a comprehensive report on why we're needed. And this gives you answers. It's targeted at people from the universities. It's targeted at giving answers if you're a funding body, if you are another research organization, if you're a researcher yourself, if you're a student. This piece gives you an answer on why research and education networking is important, why research and education networking is completely something else from the services we receive from the ISPs, and why we need it, why it is an asset to any country and not a liability, why any country needs to invest in research and education networking to form a full part of the media world of tomorrow. So have a look at this website, it really gives some good information. We love this. We've run an article about the Three Musketeers because this is really what Daniel, Andrew and Joe have been doing over the last couple of months. They came together in a real Ubuntu spirit of all for one and one for all and have said, okay, we're going to build a network now. We need to get going. This network is going to be delivered to us. What do we need to do as engineers responsible for AfricaConnect? So have a look at this. It's a bit of fun, it's a piece of fun, but it also gives you a nice overview of how these three engineers have approached this new task in their life to deal with AfricaConnect. It's published in the New York's newsletter, the Ubuntunet Alliance newsletter, of course. And we've got the AfricaConnect brochure, which is in front of you. I've put them out at the beginning of the tables. Please make sure to have a look at it. Take it home. It's downloadable from the AfricaConnect website. AfricaConnect.eu website makes this brochure available. I'm sure we will also make it online available from the Ubuntunet Alliance website. So we've only printed a few. You have in your hands one copy of 150. It's a limited edition. It is the beginning of something very good. It's the beginning of something great. Keep it safe, keep it secure. God knows when we look back at it with fond eyes and say, gee, that was humble beginnings. But this is what we've done so far in AfricaConnect. I want to thank you again all. I want to thank the Ubuntunet Alliance for the way they welcome us here, for the way we are able to interact, for the lively, inspiring community. I'd also like to thank Marco for coming here and for really wanting to learn as the European Commission from this project. I'm sure that these days that Marco has spent here with us when he goes back to Brussels, it might have a very, very positive impact on what we're doing in the future. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for your support to AfricaConnect and the Ubuntunet Alliance. Well, I want to know what next year's presentation is going to be about. That would be really interesting. Thank you.